Welcome, beautiful damsels. She was chaos and calm, thunder and silence, a puzzle too complex for the simple-minded to solve. In a world obsessed with labeling personalities, the Sigma female remains an enigma. She doesn't shout for attention, yet you can't ignore her presence. She doesn't conform to the pack, yet she commands respect wherever she goes. Research shows that only about 15% of people naturally embody traits of high independence and introspection, and most of them are women like her. But being a mystery comes with a price. Like a cat that always lands on its feet, a Sigma female's quiet resilience makes people curious, uneasy, and, let's face it, occasionally jealous. Why is she so hard to pin down? Why doesn't she need validation like everyone else? Why does she seem so effortlessly untouchable? Spoiler alert, some people don't handle this well. Whether it's workplace politics, toxic relationships, or just plain envy, Sigma females often find themselves targeted for being unapologetically themselves. But as we peel back the layers, you'll see why these women are more than just misunderstood. They're magnetic forces that rattle the world in ways few dare to. Ready to uncover why everyone's gunning for the quiet queen? Let's dive in. Number 1. They are not easily controlled. They are not easily controlled. That's the kind of energy that makes people nervous, isn't it? A Sigma female doesn't bend to the expectations of society, peers, or even authority figures. She's not being difficult for the sake of it. She simply values her autonomy above everything else. This is a woman who knows her mind, trusts her instincts, and isn't afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that threatens her freedom. For those who thrive on control, this is both frustrating and infuriating. The Sigma female doesn't play by the usual rules. She won't nod along just to keep the peace or follow orders that don't align with her values. Manipulative people, whether in relationships or professional settings, find themselves powerless around her. Why? Because she sees through their tactics. Flattery, guilt-tripping, emotional blackmail, it all falls flat. She doesn't take the bait, and that level of self-assuredness is almost unheard of in a world that often rewards compliance. Her resistance to control doesn't come from arrogance or defiance, but from a deep sense of self-worth. She knows what she brings to the table, and she won't compromise it for anyone. This quiet strength often draws admiration, but it also attracts opposition. Those who rely on dominating others can't stand her refusal to be subdued. They may try to label her as difficult, cold, or even selfish, but these accusations slide off her like water off a rock. This inability to be controlled makes her a threat to fragile egos and insecure individuals. She's the storm they can't predict, the anchor they can't move, and the wildfire they can't extinguish. It's not that she's trying to be untouchable. It's that she refuses to give up the one thing no one has the right to take, her independence. Number 2, they are the antithesis of neediness. Sigma females stand apart because they are the opposite of needy. They don't rely on others for validation, direction, or emotional support, which can throw people off balance, especially those who are used to relationships built on mutual dependency. This independence isn't just about being self-reliant. It's about carrying a confidence and inner peace that says, "I'm whole as I am." For people who subconsciously crave emotional dependence from others, the Sigma female's self-sufficiency can feel like rejection. They may misinterpret her ability to stand alone as coldness or detachment when in reality, she simply doesn't need constant reassurance. It's not that she doesn't care, she just doesn't believe in clinging to someone for fulfillment. This dynamic often creates tension, especially in relationships where neediness is expected. A Sigma female doesn't text a dozen times a day to check in, nor does she require someone to fill her emotional gaps. For a partner or friend who thrives on being needed, this can feel like an unsettling void. They might even question their own worth when faced with someone who doesn't lean on them for everything. Ironically, this independence can also make her a magnet. People are drawn to her strength and stability, yet some can't handle the very thing that attracts them. They may feel overshadowed or even threatened by her ability to function seamlessly without leaning on others. This is where the tension builds, because the Sigma female doesn't play into the narrative that needing someone equals loving them. Her approach is different. She offers companionship, respect, and support, but she never sacrifices her autonomy. This challenges people to rethink their own emotional habits, often forcing them to confront the discomfort of standing on their own 2 feet. And that, for many, is both inspiring and unsettling. Number 3, they are threatening without trying. Sigma females have a way of commanding attention without even trying, and that's what makes them so threatening. Unlike others who actively seek the spotlight, they simply exist in their own lane, radiating an effortless charisma that can't be ignored. It's not about being loud, flashy, or overly assertive. It's their quiet confidence that speaks volumes. And for some, that's a problem. Their unintentional ability to overshadow others often stirs feelings of jealousy. People who rely on constant validation or performative displays of dominance might find themselves rattled when a Sigma female walks into the room and effortlessly draws focus without even lifting a finger. It's like she's bending the rules of social dynamics, stealing the attention without even wanting it. This natural presence can invite criticism, as those who feel threatened by her understated power may look for ways to diminish her. They might accuse her of being aloof, snobbish, or even manipulative, projecting their insecurities onto her. In truth, she's none of these things. She's just not interested in playing the usual social games. She doesn't need to one-up anyone, and she's not looking to win anyone's approval. The Sigma female's magnetism lies in her authenticity. She's comfortable in her own skin, and that kind of self-assurance is rare enough to feel intimidating. People can't put her in a box, and because she's not actively vying for attention, her presence feels like a disruption to the usual order of things. For some, she's an inspiration, a reminder that you can thrive on your own terms. For others, she's a threat, a mirror reflecting their own insecurities. Either way, she leaves an undeniable impression simply by being herself. And for those who can't handle her quiet power, that's reason enough to feel unsettled. Number 4, their quiet confidence challenges fragile egos. Sigma females possess a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. They don't need to announce their presence or prove their worth to anyone. It's simply understood. This unshakable self-assurance is neither boastful nor loud. It's rooted in knowing who they are and what they bring to the table. But not everyone can handle this kind of energy. In a world where loudness is often mistaken for strength, the Sigma female's calm authority can be deeply unsettling. Fragile egos, particularly those who rely on dominance or attention to feel powerful, often see her as a threat. She doesn't have to shout to be heard or demand respect. It's given to her because of how she carries herself. For those who equate power with performance, this quiet self-possession feels like a personal challenge. The Sigma female's confidence often draws petty attacks from people who feel diminished in her presence. These individuals might label her as arrogant, dismissive, or too reserved, attempting to diminish her through gossip, criticism, or backhanded compliments. But their real issue isn't with her, it's with themselves. Her calm demeanor highlights their insecurities, forcing them to confront the fact that their power relies on external validation, while hers comes from within. This quiet confidence also gives her an edge in tense situations. While others scramble to prove their dominance or control, she stays composed, watching, analyzing, and deciding her next move. This unnerves those who expect a reaction, further exposing their own fragile egos. Ultimately, the Sigma female's confidence doesn't just challenge societal norms about power. It challenges people on a personal level. And for those who aren't ready to face their own insecurities, her mere existence feels like a threat they can't ignore. Number 5, their self-reliance highlights dependency in others. Sigma females are masters of self-reliance. They don't wait around for someone to fix their problems or provide solutions. They simply handle things themselves. This ability to navigate challenges independently is both a strength and a point of contention. While some admire their resourcefulness, others find it unsettling. For those who lean heavily on others for support, advice, or direction, the Sigma female's self-sufficiency can act as a harsh mirror. Her independence highlights the gaps in their own ability to function without external help. It's not intentional. She's not trying to make anyone feel inadequate. But the contrast can be glaring. Watching her take charge of her own life can make people question their own levels of dependency, and for some, that discomfort quickly turns into resentment. This resentment often manifests in subtle ways. People might accuse her of being too independent, as though that's a flaw, or imply she's unapproachable because she doesn't seek their guidance. In truth, it's not that she avoids collaboration. It's that she values efficiency and self-trust over unnecessary reliance. She's the type to research, strategize, and act, while others are still debating their options. What makes her self-reliance so striking is that it doesn't come from a place of arrogance, but from a deep belief in her ability to manage her life. She trusts herself to find solutions, and that trust is unshakable. While some find this inspiring, others might view it as intimidating or even threatening, especially if they're used to relationships or dynamics where dependency is the norm. Ultimately, the Sigma female doesn't apologize for her self-reliance. She doesn't feel the need to dim her light to make others comfortable, even if it means highlighting their own dependencies in the process. Whether people choose to be inspired or offended is entirely up to them. Number 6. They attract both admiration and envy. Sigma females have a unique magnetism that naturally draws people in. They exude a blend of independence, intelligence, and authenticity that commands respect. Many admire their ability to carve their own path and stay true to themselves, finding inspiration in their unapologetic individuality. But admiration is only one side of the coin. For every person who looks up to them, there's often someone who feels threatened or resentful, and that's where envy creeps in. The duality of being both admired and envied puts Sigma females in a precarious position. On one hand, they're celebrated for their accomplishments, resilience, and confidence. People are drawn to their energy and often seek their advice, friendship, or partnership. On the other hand, this very presence can provoke jealousy in those who feel overshadowed or insecure. The Sigma female's success and self-assurance highlight the areas where others may feel lacking. And instead of addressing their own insecurities, some choose to project negativity onto her. This tension can make her a lightning rod for both support and sabotage. While she may have a strong circle of genuine admirers, there will always be those who try to undermine her. These individuals might spread rumors, question her intentions, or look for ways to bring her down, all in an effort to diminish her light. What's remarkable, though, is how Sigma females handle this duality. They don't chase admiration, nor do they waste energy on those who envy them. Instead, they focus on their own goals and let their actions speak for themselves. This ability to stay grounded, even in the face of mixed reactions, only deepens the divide between those who respect them and those who resent them. In the end, the Sigma female's journey is a testament to the strength it takes to shine unapologetically, no matter who's watching. Number 7. They are mirrors of insecurities. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to act as mirrors for the people around them, not because they try to, but because their presence naturally highlights the insecurities of others. Their calm composure, self-assurance, and refusal to conform to societal expectations often make others look inward, whether they want to or not. For some, this introspection can be inspiring, pushing them to grow and improve. For others, however, it stirs feelings of inadequacy, which they project back onto the Sigma female as resentment or hostility. This dynamic stems from the stark contrast between the Sigma female's independence and the hidden doubts or dependencies others may carry. For instance, someone who feels the need to please others might feel unsettled by her ability to set firm boundaries. Someone who thrives on external validation might feel overshadowed by her self-sufficiency. Instead of acknowledging these feelings as internal struggles, they blame her for making them feel that way. This resentment often manifests as targeted criticism, backhanded compliments, or outright sabotage. People may call her intimidating, unapproachable, or even too perfect, not because these labels are accurate, but because they reveal the discomfort she unintentionally brings out in them. What makes this targeting particularly ironic is that the Sigma female isn't trying to compete or provoke anyone. She's just being herself. Her ability to stay composed under pressure, remain authentic, and navigate life without seeking approval is a silent statement that others interpret in their own ways. Ultimately, the Sigma female's presence challenges people to confront parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. While this can lead to admiration from those ready to grow, it can also make her a target for resentment from those unwilling to face their insecurities. It's a heavy but inevitable burden of simply being authentic in a world full of masks. Number 8. They don't play by gender stereotypes. Sigma females are unapologetic rule breakers when it comes to traditional gender roles. They don't conform to the outdated script that tells women to be overly accommodating, demure, or dependent. Instead, they carve out their own path, pursuing independence, ambition, and authenticity. This refusal to fit into predefined molds often makes them a target for societal pushback, especially from those who are deeply invested in maintaining these stereotypes. For generations, gender norms have dictated how women should behave, how they should dress, talk, think, and even dream. The Sigma female doesn't just ignore these rules, she rewrites them entirely. She isn't interested in proving her worth through the lens of others' expectations. If she wants to lead, she leads. If she wants to remain single, she does so without explanation. If she chooses career over family, she doesn't feel guilt, only clarity. This self-determined approach unsettles people who still view traditional gender roles as a cornerstone of societal stability. Some see her as rebellious, others as a threat. This often leads to criticism, subtle or overt efforts to put her in her place, or attempts to diminish her achievements by framing them as luck rather than skill. What makes her even more challenging to stereotype is her versatility. A Sigma female can be assertive without being domineering, nurturing without being self-sacrificing, and ambitious without compromising her integrity. She doesn't reject femininity. She redefines it on her own terms, showing that strength and sensitivity can coexist. Her very existence forces people to question deeply ingrained beliefs about gender roles, which can feel uncomfortable for those who cling to these norms. While some see her as an inspiration, others see her as a disruption, a living reminder that the rules they follow are not unbreakable, but outdated. Number 9. They are unapologetically themselves. Sigma females are a force of nature when it comes to authenticity. They don't twist themselves into shapes to meet society's expectations or cater to the desires of others. There's no facade, no compromise. They simply are who they are unapologetically. Whether it's the way they dress, think, or live their lives, they choose what aligns with their true selves, not what's expected of them. And that, for many, is both refreshing and unsettling. For those who have spent their lives trying to fit into predefined boxes, whether it's the mold of a perfect partner, an ideal employee, or a proper woman, the Sigma female's refusal to conform can stir deep insecurities. They mirror the discomfort of those who have abandoned their own authenticity to play the social game. The Sigma female doesn't need validation, and that lack of dependence can provoke jealousy or even resentment. Some people, unable to tolerate this sheer defiance of expectations, will try to put her in her place. They may label her as stubborn, rebellious, or arrogant simply because she refuses to adjust her life to make others feel comfortable. This kind of behavior isn't about being difficult. It's about having the courage to stand in her truth, regardless of how it makes others feel. Her unapologetic authenticity forces people to confront the ways they have molded themselves to fit into societal or relational roles. This often triggers a need to criticize, control, or even suppress her, because her unfiltered existence is a direct challenge to those who have compromised parts of themselves just to belong. In the end, the Sigma female's unapologetic selfhood isn't about being rebellious for the sake of it. It's simply about not needing permission to be exactly who she is. And that, more than anything, is what makes her both admirable and threatening to those who can't embrace their own true selves. Number 10. They disrupt the status quo without trying. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to disrupt the status quo without lifting a finger in rebellion. Their very presence challenges the way things are done, simply because they don't conform to the predictable patterns most people follow. They don't have to make bold statements or loudly protest. Just by being themselves, they force the world around them to question its norms. In social or professional environments, this natural disruption is often felt before it's even understood. While others are navigating the same tired scripts, competing for attention, conforming to groupthink, playing political games, Sigma females simply do what works for them without regard for approval or alignment with the established order. And that's where the tension starts. When someone doesn't play by the rules, it makes others uncomfortable. People who thrive on following the expected path may see the Sigma female's independence and self-direction as a direct challenge to the structure they've built their lives around. They may not even realize it's happening, but when a Sigma female moves through a space, she forces a reconsideration of what's considered normal or acceptable. This disruption doesn't come from any desire to overthrow anything. It's just a byproduct of living authentically. The Sigma female doesn't engage in the constant need for validation. She doesn't bend to social expectations, and she doesn't play to the audience. She just exists, doing her own thing, and in doing so, she shakes up the environment around her. People may react to this with admiration, but more often it stirs discomfort or resistance. Some will see her as a model of authenticity, while others may see her as a threat to the status quo they've built their lives around. Either way, it's impossible to ignore the ripples she creates simply by being unapologetically herself. In the end, Sigma females are a paradox that the world can't quite figure out, and that's exactly why they're so powerful. They don't seek attention, yet it finds them. They don't compete for approval, yet they command respect. Their strength lies in their ability to navigate life on their own terms, unapologetically defying expectations and societal norms without even trying. This authenticity, this quiet rebellion against the conventional, is both a beacon of inspiration and a trigger for those uncomfortable with self-sufficiency and individuality. For every person who admires their independence, there will be another who resents it. But the Sigma female doesn't chase approval, nor does she fear criticism. She understands that her journey is hers alone, and that's enough. Whether she's challenging the status quo, reflecting others' insecurities, or simply existing as her true self, she forces the world to reconsider its assumptions about power, success, and identity. In a world that often rewards conformity, the Sigma female is a reminder that strength isn't always loud and leadership isn't always obvious. Sometimes the most extraordinary forces are the quietest, and those who are brave enough to follow their own path, no matter how misunderstood, will always leave a mark that can't be erased. If you've found yourself captivated by the power and mystery of the Sigma female, there's so much more where that came from. Don't let this journey end here. Subscribe to the channel and join us as we continue exploring the fascinating, unconventional truths that shape the world around us. Be part of a community that values authenticity, strength, and the courage to defy the norm. Hit that subscribe button and never miss a moment of the discussion. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.